to episode 3 of Hope, Honoring Ourselves Purposefully Every Day. I'm Deb Bartok, your host, and today we're going to talk about heart health and the holidays. We're incorporating a Christmas theme, just a bit of one, because, well, it's that time of year. It's never too late to take your heart health seriously and make it a priority. I'm happy to be here today with Karen Iwasa from Lethbridge. Thank you for coming in, Karen.
Thank you.
We are in the beautiful cobblestone manor. This time we're in the dark oak room, not the golden oak room. You'll notice the beautiful stained glass in here. It's lovely. All right, Karen, the reason I asked you here, first of all, I met Karen at a women's conference in Lethbridge that I popped into. And I was intrigued by a part of her story. And it's a story of healing broken pieces of us. In this instance, a broken heart. And Karen is an inspiration, and she was speaking to women to inspire and motivate them to move forward in their lives after. So Karen, tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this point in your life.
Well, to come to this point, I'm just going to go back a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
And my husband of 33 years then told me he would like a divorce so he could pursue an alternate lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
So when it comes to something like that, there's no fixing anything. Yeah. This is a new life for him. And immediately I felt I'm worthless.
Yeah.
The family we've planned together, our retirement we've planned together isn't enough. And I was not enough. And I felt shattered. And the ironic thing is, that year, as I do every year, I choose a word to live by.
Oh, I love that idea.
And the word I chose for that year was value.
Value.
With the commitment that I would find value in every experience I had that year.
Okay, so that's what value meant to you, that you find that in every experience.
And I thought I was going to fail. Where do you find value in realizing you've just wasted 3 decades of your life? And
well, that's interesting that you say that. Do you feel you wasted it now?
No.
Now that you come, that's right.
No.
But that's how you felt at the time, that you've wasted.
I did.
Yeah.
And so I needed to find a way to find value. 3 weeks after the storm hit, I'll call that my life storm, I attended a conference. And that is where I first heard about kintsugi.
Kintsugi.
Yes.
And this is something that I'm really excited about. This art, Japanese art of kintsugi. Spell that.
Kintsugi. And all
Tell
it
us
is,
about it. It's so exciting. I love the
concept. It is very dear to my heart now. It's a process whereby anything that is broken, dishes, pottery, plates, can be mended back together using precious metals, gold or silver or platinum. And once they're mended back together, they're far more valuable than they were before they were broken.
And that's the metaphor for our lives, isn't it?
Absolutely. And another research showed that the name of it really is Kintsugi, the Art of Precious Scars.
Okay.
So immediately I thought, if an old bowl can gain value after it's been broken, certainly this living, beating heart that's been bruised and shattered and broken, I can find value in that again. Beautiful. And move forward. So it was just aligning everything, my need to find value in every experience, and being exposed to kintsugi and understanding that it doesn't matter how broken you are, you can create a masterpiece that will be valuable.
Right, and now you're helping other women to heal in that, with that thinking.
I try. I'm sharing my story. And when you asked me, do I still feel like I've wasted 30 years of my life? As I went through this and with my mending kit, I call it. I don't
Okay.
have precious metals, but my mending kit is my core values, my belief, my faith, my family, good friends, etc. When I pull all those things together and look at my life, I realize that many of those things came as a result of the 33-year marriage. So that was
right.
it was a tender mercy that could flip, and I could embrace the value of a marriage even though it's failed.
Right.
Yeah.
You could almost call that seeing the silver lining
Oh,
and all that.
the precious metal.
Precious metal silver
Yes,
lining.
yes, for
so
sure.
can you tell us some of the tools that are in that mending kit?
As soon as I realized that I was going to have to either give up or pick up, and I chose to pick up and carry on with my life,
Good.
I started looking for things that would help me start a new chapter in my life. And I
Okay.
researched and I came up with things that were valuable to me, surrounding yourself with good people.
Okay. That's
Turning
important.
regret into wonder. And I have loved that journey. The things that I never thought I would be grateful for
Right.
have become my
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
greatest
that's
strengths.
wonderful.
There,
Forgiveness. You talked about forgiveness. So important.
it is. Every storm anybody has, I believe, somewhere on that spectrum of forgiveness, they're going to find themselves. Whether
Right.
it's forgiving somebody that has offended or hurt them, whether it's forgiving themselves for being in a stupid situation or allowing this to happen or whatever, even forgiving God that He would let this happen.
Yeah.
And so forgiveness to me became integral in every single aspect of what I was
Right.
trying to do. At
Yeah.
the same time, I came across an author, Edith Eger, who was a
Okay.
Holocaust survivor.
Right.
And she had a quote in her book, it's called The Choice, where we have a choice whether we're going to pick up, whether we're going to lie down and cry or become
Right.
bitter for the rest of our life. And the quote that she had that just melded beautifully with my kintsugi masterpiece is, "To heal is not to remove the scar, but to cherish the wound."
Wow.
And so I had to accept this is what's been handed me.
Yeah.
And I have to cherish all those things that I've learned, that I've overcome, that have
Right.
strengthened me through this whole process.
Yeah.
The quote, "Today is the first day of the rest of your life," I have to say I don't like that quote. To me, it negates everything that's
Yeah,
happened
in
to
your
this-
life.
and all of the things I've been through
Yeah.
have made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And I pretty much love who I am today.
Oh,
so I
wonderful.
don't want to negate that
That.
part.
That part that made you.
And so it makes it
Who you
easy
are.
to cherish those wounds, to cherish those difficulties that helped you put yourself back together with all the precious things
Right.
of life and to be strong and valuable.
It certainly takes you out of that victim mode. And so many people get stuck
Oh, it's sad.
being
It's
victims,
really sad to watch.
blaming and yeah, victim thinking. It doesn't move you forward.
No, and you tend to lose a lot of your support because it's not a positive environment
Negative.
for other people to be in as well.
Negative.
And I wanted my sons to know that their mother was strong and she was
Good
not
for
going to
you.
be bitter, and so we could move on and still have good relationships. But I would grow from this, and I have.
And
The
you
last
have.
18 months have been phenomenal growth. It's been fantastic.
Well, it must be for you to be willing to share this story and share your healing journey so soon.
Well, when I first entered this, I thought I had it all under control, and in 3 or 4 months, I said, "Oh, good, I did it." But no,
No.
there's little storms that hit
Yeah.
over and over and
Yeah,
over
there are.
again, and so I'm learning as
Just
I'm.
go to your toolkit.
That's right. I keep it with me all the time, and yeah, I feel like it has finally started coming around. I still have longings. I still want to be in a place where I can totally forgive.
Right.
You know, you can forgive bits and pieces,
Yeah.
but
It's a process.
it is.
It's a refinement, isn't it?
Oh, it's such a refinement. And
Yeah.
again, I'll refer to my lovely author, Edith, who wrote her book when she was 92 years old.
I know.
She
Amazing.
chose to forgive Hitler
Yeah.
after living
Which
in
is huge.
Auschwitz. And for people to hear that, it's hard for some people to understand how you can forgive someone that did something so horrible.
Right.
And forgiving them doesn't diminish what they've done.
No.
It doesn't diminish what was done to you or
Right.
how you felt. But as she put it, if she did not forgive him, she would forever be shackled to him.
Yeah. He
And that
continues to make
bitterness
her
and
suffer.
that darkness. And it just allows you to move forward and live 100%
Right.
today in the present and not in
Letting your
the
light
past.
shine.
Well, you can't do anything
Having a
about the
whole
past.
heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, your heart enlarges, I think.
Yep.
I think, you know, those little crevices that you start filling with
Yeah.
those precious things helps to enlarge your heart. And you have
Yeah.
more compassion and empathy for others because you know what it's like to be
Yes.
totally shattered.
And because we're in a world that breaks us, tries to, we can let that light shine for people like your sons and other women and all people.
I didn't share my story until I was ready to, of
Right.
course. And
Because too many tears would probably
Well,
pour.
I had a voice and diction teacher at university, and she said, "You can't share the story if the tear will fall. It's okay for them to see the tear in your eye. Never let
Right.
it fall." And
Okay.
so, I'm to a point where I can share my story
Right.
and be happy that I can share my story
Right.
instead of teary.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Oh, thank you for having me. It strengthens me every time I get to talk about my journey and
Good.
what's important to me and this little kintsugi
It's
masterpiece that I'm creating.
great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places.
So on episode 2, last episode, Lauren Bascom joined us, and he did a detox,
Yes.
foot detox, Ionic foot detoxification process on me. And I found it very interesting, and because I have a few more questions, I invited him back. So welcome back, Lauren.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, what should I have felt after that detoxification?
You know, everybody's different. I mean, some people have experienced something. For me, I had a definite change when I felt, well, for whatever reason, there was just something in my brain. I could just feel like it was melting or something, and I'm going, well, that's weird. And I was driving down the road, and it didn't make sense. But it was explained to me after that, yeah, you can have a chemical release. And working
Right.
at the time as a carpet cleaner, I am in a lot of those fumes and use a lot of those chemicals, and I guess that affected me, and that detox brought something on. Now, some people won't feel it maybe until the second or maybe third or fourth time, which
Right.
we've had that in the
It is
last.
a process.
Yes, there is a process. It isn't a one-time show and then you're done.
Right.
You're all healed.
Right.
It takes time. It does take time. So it's been interesting. Like you're wondering for yourself. I mean, some people will sleep better. I mean, the other day somebody said, "Why I'm able to sleep a lot better. My dreams are so weird. It didn't make sense." Or they might have.
Oh, that's one thing, because you
yes.
were asking me, and I'm thinking, well, I'm not quite sure what I was supposed to experience. Sometimes I'm on the go so quickly, I'm not listening to my body properly.
Yes.
But I don't usually remember dreams, and I
You remember
dreaming
those.
and remembering dreams.
Yeah, and sometimes those things happen.
Okay.
Again, not everybody's the same. I mean, some will have a quick reaction, especially if they're detoxing already, going on a certain diet. Some have had a really how can I put it? Maybe you could say an adverse reaction where they just had a lot of chemicals form in their stomach, and out it came. I mean,
Oh,
there was quite a bit, or it
Yeah.
comes out the other door. So again, it all depends on where you're at and
Right.
what you're doing.
And keeping a careful watch, being in tune with what your
Exactly.
body is going through,
Yes, very much.
which I need to do more of. So one of the reasons I brought you on this show is because it's a show on heart,
Yes.
the heart. And I remember you talking about detoxification of the major organs, including the heart.
Correct.
So can you kind of explain a little bit how that process happens?
Well, and in a lot of their studies that the foot baths people have done, that I have gotten their foot bath from, they have taken a blood sample before and after. And then let's take arsenic, for example. There is a certain amount that does leave our bodies, but a certain amount does deposit in each of our organs. What they found in that study was that there was a drop of 20 to 30% of less arsenic in the body after approximately 8 to 10 foot baths. So
Okay.
again, it's a process time. The body will slowly release and let go of those things. I mean, some people have felt a mercury release when they've had a lot of mercury fillings, and that has helped them been able to sleep better, function better, be able to do the things that they want to do. So
Okay.
again, it all depends where that person is at. And so the heart is going to be taxed, but a lot of times it's through the blood. The blood is what's going to eliminate a lot of this,
Right.
bring it to where it needs to be let out of our body, which is through those eccrine glands in our feet. And you can use your hands as well. Some people have used their hands, and you do get
Oh,
the same
okay.
significant amount.
So put your
of
hands in the
blood.
water.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we have the
Sometimes-
same glands. in
Yes,
the
so you
hand.
have not as many in your glands of that sort in your hands, but they still do the same process.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. After our last visit, and when I found out about this Ionic foot detox, of course, it's like when you buy a Chevy or a Toyota or whatever, all of a sudden you see the same car everywhere. I started to notice on social media,
Yes.
especially, different ads or commentaries about the detox. Some of it was negative. Some people call it a scam. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, quite honestly, I mean, you are mixing an iron with water, and so you're going to have that mixture happening, and there is a certain amount of sediment that is within our foot bath. The thing that is different is the kinds of things that do come out of our eccrine glands, and that's quite noticeable, especially, for example, a gentleman that had welded for 40 or 50 years. When he was finished his foot bath, he went to get up and he couldn't walk, and they thought that was funny, and when they lifted his foot, there was little shavings all
my
over his
goodness.
feet, and he had to pick them out. So is there something happening that is getting those things out of us? Yes. So some of the things that I've seen in the media, is very true. You will have colors, and you will have certain amount of things that do take place in that water.
Naturally, right?
It's just going to be a little different when you have feet in it. And there's a lot more sediment, and there's different kinds of sediment. And it's a heavier type of sediment, which some of it floats, some of it is from the heavy metals that are in us. Example is that gentleman that had had welded for 40 years at least, had those shavings coming out of his feet. So there is a certain amount of, but he had done it more than 5 or 10 times.
Right.
And so again, what we're seeing on the media is a one-time show. You need to do it more than once, closer to 10 sometimes.
Ideally, you should have your own foot bath.
You can if you like. I mean, there is some very good ones out there, and there's some other ones that are not so good.
Because
so you got
it's
to do your homework.
ongoing.
Exactly. It's an ongoing
You'd
thing.
be too busy.
I don't mind busy. I enjoy the opportunity of helping people
Right.
get better
Of course you do.
and getting those toxins out. So it's been a lot of fun learning how the body reacts with an ionic detox foot system.
Excellent. Well, I'll be doing it some more.
Okay.
How can we find you?
We can be found at baskinginhealth@gmail.com. We are working on a Facebook page under the same lettering, I guess you could say, and in time I can accept your emails and be able to answer your questions and set up a time where we can come together and learn how much your body's going to detox. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Hi, we're back with Gina, our poop coach. Today she is here as an herbalist, nutritionist, and she's going to talk to us about the diet that we need to have to ensure a healthy heart. So Gina, tell us about what some of the foods are that can ensure that healthy heart, that robust heart.
Yes, so the heart, everything in your body is your lifeline, but the heart is what pumps the blood and takes it to all the other organs so that the other organs can get the nutrients that it needs. So if you don't have a healthy blood supply, then your body is going to deteriorate rapidly. And so the best, most powerful food that you can ingest into your body, I don't want to call it a diet because it's not, because you can eat a plethora of foods, but it's the whole food, emphasis on the whole food, whole food plant-based diet. And everybody's like, oh, plant-based diet, like everybody keeps saying that. What is it? So it includes every single fruit in its whole form. So we're not talking canned, we're not talking, you can eat dried, but it's like that takes out the water in it. So I include dried fruit in my diet, but it's mostly you want the whole fruit, every single vegetable, even potatoes. Everybody's being mean to potatoes. They're fine. You can eat them. So
you can't get too much starch.
If you're eating potatoes, breakfast, lunch, and supper, 6 times a day.
Some people do, yeah.
But they are really good. And you can switch it up with some sweet potatoes, some white potatoes, purple potatoes. Like there's a variety of them. And so you have every fruit, every vegetable, raw, emphasis on raw, whole nuts and seeds. Those are huge. And then you want to have your whole grains and your legumes. So beans, lentils. And with those foods, you can make so many delicious meals. Like you can still have your tacos, you can still have your enchiladas, you can still have your spaghetti. You can have all of these things. They just have a different, ingredient in them.
Yeah, it's definitely, we were talking about it earlier, that it's definitely, once we get the salts and the sugars and the fats, the processed foods out of there, it definitely changes the texture and the taste, but eventually you lose the addiction.
The taste buds are a muscle. They can and will change over time, but I think a lot of people think that a plant-based diet for whole body health, especially the heart, they think that it has to be so bland, but actually you're adding more flavors to it.
It wakes up your taste buds and you enjoy your food more.
Yeah, you're not gnawing on a piece of yucky kale. You're throwing in like Himalayan salt, and you're throwing in spices and chili powders and things that you've never really tasted before. So it's an adventure in the food that you're eating. Then you're eating good food plus you're healing your body at the same time. Why would you not want to do that?
And I have heard that eating a strict vegetarian or vegan diet actually can reverse coronary or heart disease. Is this true?
Yes, there is so many studies out there that have proven it. There's been doctors that have proven it. Dr. McGregor, Dr. Bernard. Those are some of the doctors that are on a plant-based diet and they advocate for it. And you can reverse heart disease within a couple of months if you stick to a plant-based diet. The one thing that I do want to get out there is that you need to leave the extracted oils behind. So walnuts this is a walnut in its whole form. It's just been shelled.
Right.
This is good. The body loves a whole walnut, a whole cashew.
Raw. Okay.
Yeah, in its raw form, because you don't want them deep fried. They're usually deep fried in peanut oil.
Right.
And then they have heavy salt on them,
Yeah.
some sugar. That's no good for the body. But you want even coconut oil or olive oil, you want to leave those out. You can eat the whole coconut.
Okay.
Because that is what is going to start putting plaque on the artery walls.
On the arteries, yeah.
And that's going to start to clog them, and then the blood flow is slower. And then the heart has to work harder, the veins and the arteries have to pump harder, so there's a lot of stress happening in the body, and that stress is no good for the heart. Everybody knows. Like,
Right.
stress is not good. You want to limit that.
Yes.
And so you want to eat the oils in their whole form. I know there's a lot of hype about coconut oil right now, olive oil, avocado oil. Eat the whole avocado. Eat the whole walnut. Eat the whole cashew.
Right.
Eat the whole sunflower seed.
Right. Right. But I noticed you have coconut oil
Yes,
in your cupboard.
I do.
And so that's secondary? Like that?
So I use that. That's for my body. So I use that as a
Okay.
lotion, and then I oil pull with coconut oil.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the only thing that I would use oil for is when roasting vegetables. A lot of people roast them with a bunch of oil on them.
Yeah.
We steam roast them, so we roast them with water. But what I use oil for is on the bottom of the pan. I'll just spray it really quickly, so it's a very limited amount, and it doesn't really go into my food. It just helps them to stop sticking. And I don't want to use aluminum foil because I don't want the aluminum.
Parchment? How about parchment?
Parchment usually burns in
Okay.
the oven. So we just spray the pan, put the veggies on, and then pour water over top of it and cook it in the convection oven. So
And I've had them and they're delicious.
yeah, and they taste the same
Yeah.
without
They do.
all of the oils that is going to clog the arteries.
Okay, so show us some of your magic.
We're going to make I almost want to say it's one of my favorite dishes.
Okay.
And it is jam-packed with nutrients. So antioxidants, proteins, calcium, everything that the body needs is in this dish right now.
Nice.
So what I've done is I've steam roasted some broccoli, which anything dark leafy green is so amazing for the heart. The heart loves when you eat broccoli, when you eat kale, when you eat spinach. So we'll put those in there, and then there's some cauliflower in here, some potatoes, and then I've cooked up some wild rice. Isn't that beautiful? It's almost like a purple.
Yeah, it doesn't look like rice.
I know it's not white, but it's a wild rice. So there's some black rice in here. There's some brown rice in here. There we go. We'll put some of that in there, and then this. Oh, and some beans. So beans are another heart healthy food because they pack a lot of fiber, and the fiber will help take off the plaque and the cholesterol that is lining the arteries. So put some beans in there. And then this is the ultimate dressing. That I literally could just stick my fingers in it and scoop it into my mouth. Which I usually do, and that's probably why I don't cook for people, because
Hey, you cooked for me, but that's
true.
okay.
I never taste tested it. I used a spoon.
It was delicious.
I use a spoon. So the base of this dressing is dark leafy greens,
All right.
and this is going to help
Spinach.
bring the inflammation down in the body. So you need a little bit of that, and then this is where your protein comes from, your calcium comes from, your antioxidants.
Okay.
These foods, what you want to look for when you're eating is foods that don't stress the body out.
Right.
So when you have your spinach, when you have your beans, when you have your vegetables, your fruits, berries, these all lower the stress in the body.
Okay.
And they help to dilate the blood vessels.
Right.
So
Is
when
that because they're easier to digest?
they're easier to digest, but they also have the antioxidants.
Antioxidants,
And
right.
and when you eat them, the body says, "This is good.
Oh, okay.
I can relax. This
Right.
food fuels me."
Yeah.
And so it just puts you at a peaceful state in your body. And then when you're relaxed, that's when the blood vessels can open and you can pump more of the nutrients into your heart, which therefore pumps it to the rest of your body. And then the whole body is benefiting
Right.
by getting all of this,
That
all
makes
of these
perfect
nutrients.
sense.
Yeah. So then your kidneys are functioning better, your bowels are functioning better, your lymph can drain because you're in a peaceful, rested state.
Yeah.
So we got our dark leafy greens. And then we're gonna throw in some cilantro. This is so anything with a dark color to it has.
Now cilantro is a pretty strong flavor. So is this a strong cilantro flavor in your?
It balances out because when you put the walnuts in it,
okay.
that's the oil kind of like helps almost like emulsify it and just bring everything together, bring the taste together. So we'll do that. And then the cilantro is also really good for anti-inflammatory properties and bringing the heavy metals out of the body.
Okay.
There's that.
Good
And then a
old
lemon.
lemon.
I know. I buy these by the boat. Lemon is so good. And so with lemon, this also helps stimulate the liver. And when you stimulate the liver, which stimulates the digestive system, everything goes back to poop, people.
Right.
It all goes back.
It does.
When your
That's why
digestive
it's our
system.
first show.
Oh yeah. When your digestive system is healthy and you're getting those toxins out, then your blood is cleaner. And then your heart doesn't have to work so hard.
Right.
Because, I mean, there's a lot of stressors in the world. And so if you can just dabble into a plant-based diet,
Yeah.
your world will be a lot.
And you just feel so much better when your body's happy. Of course,
Then everything's
affects-
happy.
yeah, it affects-
Family's happy, then your coworkers are happy.
Yep.
The world just becomes a better
affects your mind, your
better
spirit,
place.
everything.
And the blood is the river of life. That is what makes us live. If you don't have blood, you're nothing. So we need to keep it as clean as possible by eating the yummiest foods possible.
Right.
Okay. This is nutritional yeast. This packs a bunch of B vitamins, which is also good. You burn through magnesium and B12 when you're stressed.
Okay.
And so this helps just replenish it. Go. And it adds like a cheesy, nutty flavor. Gonna do that.
Oh, yeah, it's quite a bit.
I know. It's 4. So this makes quite a bit of dressing. Yeah.
So I'll have dinner prepared tonight.
Oh, and garlic. This.
Now that is something that I heard, that garlic is really healthy for the heart. And so can you tell us what garlic does when we ingest it?
So garlic will bring down the inflammation in the body, and it'll help fight off any sort of bug that is in the body as well. And so it basically boosts your immune system, helps clean your blood, and then the cleaner blood, the healthier
the easier
the
task
body.
your heart has.
So a lot of times I'll look online for recipes, and this recipe calls for 1/4 cup extracted oil.
Okay.
So I just double up on the walnuts.
Walnuts, right.
It's as simple as that. So we
Cool.
got some lemon juice, we got some garlic, nutritional yeast, walnut leaves, spinach, and then we just need a little bit of salt. Salt is also been given a bad name.
But that doesn't look like normal table salt.
This is pink. So yeah, table salt is something you want to watch out for because it's processed. This is pink Himalayan salt.
Himalayan, yeah.
And it also has your trace vitamins and minerals in it. So you can use a little bit of it.
Right.
Because salt just kind of brings out the flavors a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And your body needs a little bit of salt.
Yeah, and it's an electrolyte.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna add a little bit of water and then we're gonna blend.
And so then you pour that onto this dish?
Yeah, you like just dump
Douse
it on
it in?
there. Yeah, I'm such a dip person. Try that. Let me know how you feel about it.
Okay.
If it's Deb worthy.
Mmm, that is so good.
Yes,
That's good.
we got a winner.
Yum.
Okay.
Oh, I'll put it in your sink.
You can eat the whole thing.
Oh, man, that's really good.
We just pour it on.
It's like you can taste the
goodness.
The walnuts and cilantro make just a really, it must be the
Nutritional yeast.
yeast.
The
Gives it that cheesiness too.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. Then Oh, I forgot, like, the key ingredient. Okay, so it's coming close to Christmas.
Oh, the
Show them the
beets.
back of your shirt.
Beets, yeah, there we go.
We got a Christmas lover over here. So the one thing around the holidays I love to put into my food, just because it adds a little bit of color. The more colorful your food is, the better for your heart it is. And I'm not talking Skittles. I'm not talking that kind of color. I'm talking whole food, plant-based
Right.
color here. Beets.
There we go. Beautiful red beets.
Look at these.
Over the green.
Yes. So we're
Beautiful
just gonna
Christmas colors.
Sprinkle them on. It's like sprinkling Christmas. That's exactly what it is. So I love to eat beets in their raw. Well, I like to eat them anyway. But whenever I put them into a salad, I always want to grate them because it's easier to chew.
Right.
And then I'll either roast them or I will steam them up. So this is a beautiful
That is gorgeous.
dish. Look at that. Got some green in there. Like that looks like Christmas.
Yeah.
And
it
it's
does.
Christmas for your body. It's a
It
gift.
does. And you're going to feel so much better if you eat something like that
Yes.
than
So
all of the sweets and the
beets are huge
processed.
these days. There's beet powders. There's beet pre-workout, like beet juice. Because what it does is it dilates the arteries and it helps the blood
She's got
come
beet
through.
fingers.
Woo!
I love beets. I love
know.
beets.
Straight from
Wonderful.
the garden.
Thank
So,
you.
That's your easy, super simple,
Yes.
super delicious, heart healthy food. But any
Wonderful.
food that's plant-based
Yeah.
in its full
That's
form
raw.
is the best for the heart. The absolute best.
Okay, and there we have it from Gina. Thank you
Woo!
so much.
Turn that off. We gotta eat.
If you change nothing, nothing will change.
Okay, so we are going to have a closer look at Gina's beautiful creation, and she's also going to talk to us about the 3 top heart healthy foods. Gina,
Yes.
take us away.
Okay, so the top, if you had to narrow it down to the top 3, I would say, and so would a plethora of plant-based doctors, dark leafy greens.
Right?
So packed with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties, and they have chlorophyll, they have protein, they have calcium, they have everything that your body needs. So
Right.
you want to include a lot of dark leafy greens. And then berries. Who doesn't love berries?
Berries.
So right now I have some, these are from the garden. Take one.
Raspberries. Love raspberries.
Fresh from the garden. And then there's blueberries, and then there's something
Yum.
called wild blueberries. And these are purple all the way through. So they are packed with antioxidants. So when things get oxidized in your body, you want to have more antioxidants to
Right.
combat that, the free radicals. And that is where aging happens, is when there's too many free radicals in the body.
Right.
And so the antioxidants will come in and balance that out.
Okay.
So these ones are super. When my little girl eats these, I'm like, you sit down in one spot because they are
Right.
potent.
Right.
So any sort of berry. I just have raspberries and wild blueberries here.
Okay.
And then the next one, my fingers, any sort of bean or legume. So I have lentils here, black beans, chickpeas.
Chickpeas.
You can do kidney beans, navy beans, white beans, any sort of beans. And the
Okay.
trick here, I know a lot of people are like, well, Gina, when I eat beans, I look like I'm 6 months pregnant, like I just bloat. You want to soak them first,
Right.
at least overnight, and then cook them really, really good. And that will help with the bloating, and that'll help your body digest them. But these have all of these things have a bunch of fiber in them.
Right.
And that's what you want. You want the fiber, you want the enzymes, you want the antioxidants, and you want all of the nutrients all packed in there. And
Great.
yeah. So those
Wonderful.
are the 3.
Dark leafy greens. Fruit. Wonderful fruit. And legumes.
Yeah,
Beans.
specifically berries.
Berries, yes.
Specifically,
yes.
I mean, all fruit is good for the heart, but the berries,
Berries are the best,
like
yeah.
the number one if I had to pick one.
Okay. Welcome to Coach's Corner. As a developmental life coach, I have learned that how you come through your heartbreaks, losses, and traumatic events can either hold you back or fuel you to keep you moving forward. Earlier in this episode, I spoke with heartbreak survivor and thriver Karen Iwasa about the Japanese art of kintsugi, which means golden rejoinings. Taking broken pottery, gluing it back together, and painting gold along the once broken seams, enhancing the breaks, thus raising its value. This art has been described as the art of precious scars. The kintsugi technique suggests to us a few things, like how we shouldn't just throw away broken and imperfect objects, treating them like they are no longer useful or of any value. The breakage can actually become more valuable, which really is the essence of resilience. What a beautiful metaphor for our lives and healing our brokenness, whether it is our hearts, our imperfections, our insecurities, whatever. Karen spoke of having a kintsugi toolkit to help her heal the brokenness she felt after her divorce. I believe we all possess our own toolkits to help us cope and live in this uncertain world. But our tools are not always effective in accomplishing what we really desire. Many tools in our toolkits are passed on down through the generations and can even be considered outdated, not very useful, and ineffective. I believe each of us should consistently be reaching for tools to cope with traumatic events in a positive way. Ways that make us better, more resilient, more patient, forgiving, enduring, kind, and yes, loving, even in those most trying moments. Some of us may have acquired these tools, but need to practice reaching for them when in stressful situations. Many times during these instances, we automatically reach for what we are used to. It's handy, convenient, familiar, and easy, but can, metaphorically speaking, take us back into old habits, old ways of coping, moving us backward instead of forward in our journey. As we learn new, more effective tools for coping and add them to our toolbox, we need to practice using them every day. So, some of these tools that I am referring to when dealing with trauma and loss are, first, the all-important essential for life, breathing. Focus on your breathing. Taking the time to breathe deeply, even if only for a few seconds, helps us to calm, to become more mindful, to tap into our inner wisdom and strength. Second, focus on the positive, not the negative. There's always a glimmer of light, a silver lining in the dark cloud. For a motivational speaking assignment to refugees in Calgary I've been preparing for, I was reading a story about a young man who, while in Syria, was thrown into a tiny, dark, windowless jail cell. He said he could see nothing, pitch dark. But as the sun rose, there was a crack in the cement wall the size of a pinhole that allowed a faint stream of blue-yellow light. This tiny stream of light offered him hope as he focused on it during those many days in captivity. He said that what he discovered at this time is that the tiniest ray of light coming into the darkest room will gradually fill the entire room with light. But the reverse is impossible. No amount of darkness can overcome even a speck of light. It's so important to always look for and focus on that tiny speck of light. Goodness, warmth, hope during life's darkest moments. Third, focus on our potential. Don't listen to the voices that are trying to convince us we're worthless or that life is too hard. I have said it before, and I believe this with all my heart, mind, and soul. Each of us is a unique, divine individual filled with unlimited potential, and we are not alone on this journey. We were created to have joy, and it is within our reach if we focus on where it comes from, on who it comes from. Which leads us to a final tool that I'm going to mention. Focus on gratitude. This almost goes hand in hand with finding the silver lining, but it takes us a bit further in encouraging us to feel and express gratitude at all times, for even at the very least, life. The privilege to be alive. Reaching for and utilizing these tools as we struggle through the ups and downs of life will help us to heal faster, to let go of ego, to reframe our experiences into something that offers greater value to our lives, that teaches us and enhances us so we can in turn help others. I love the metaphor kintsugi offers us in finding treasure in life's scars. Whether it's loss of a loved one, a broken marriage or relationship, alienation of a child, loss of a job, an injury, or other personal tragedy, we can reframe hardships to remind us that we aren't victims. We are creators of our brighter future. What we focus on will determine whether or not we become stuck as victims or move forward, more resilient and valuable, a better version of ourselves with all our golden cracks.
Among the things you can give and still keep are your word, your smile, and a grateful heart.
It's been a good month. I'm eating better, cleaner, and feeling so much more energy and focus as a result. Even in this rather undesirable winter weather, I feel brighter and happier. I recently had my blood tested, and now I know where I am health-wise. I remember watching a Dr. Phil episode where he interviewed his wife Robin years ago. And she told the audience that she loved going to the doctor and getting blood tests, etc., because it empowered her. She knew where she stood health-wise and was able to make educated and effective decisions as a result. So that is how I'm feeling, empowered to continue making changes and living in ways that will improve my health. I have been moving more, walking, doing some yoga, which makes me feel much better, and I'm even beginning to shed some unwanted pounds. As I have been trying to figure out reoccurring patterns of behavior in my life, some still self-sabotaging, I know that certain beliefs lie beneath them. Beliefs I need to continue to identify, shift, and change. One nugget of gold I came across in my daily inspirational reading was how important self-discipline is. I mean, we know that, don't we? But this is where the gold lies. As we know, self-discipline is the ability to control ourselves and to make ourselves work or behave in a particular way without needing anyone else to tell us what to do. So why is it when we make a decision and set a goal that we deviate from it? We know it's what's best for us. It is truly what we want, but, and this is the big but in our lives, what do? We reevaluate that choice we made while setting goals to better ourselves. For instance, we decide we are going to get up every morning at 7 a.m. so we can begin a healthy morning routine of meditation, exercise, and inspirational reading before our regular daily schedule begins. We set the alarm to 7. It goes off at 7, and what do? We reevaluate the decision we made when we set the goal. We then hit the snooze button, roll over, justify, and feed this reevaluation process.
I'll skip exercising today, or I'll read when I get home. The same goes for food and eating. We decide what we are going to and what we are not going to eat. We make a plan. Then we drive by our favorite drive-through and reevaluate that plan. Oh, a little treat. It isn't going to really hurt. Or, I'll start again tomorrow or Monday. Definitely not the time to reevaluate our goals in the heat of the moment. This reevaluation process has to be eliminated in order for us to continue to improve, better ourselves, and heal. We must stay focused on our goals. In the case of the alarm clock, we don't sit it on our bedstand. We have it sitting across the room somewhere so that when it rings, we have to get up and out of bed to turn it off. No snooze button opportunities. In the case of stopping for a quick snack when we are trying to mindfully eat, carry health snacks at all times. This will help, especially if we are hungry when passing by enticing unhealthy food chains. So when it comes to sticking to our goals, we must practice self-discipline by eliminating the impulsive reevaluation process. Doing so will help us all to succeed in reaching our goals and our true potential.
The heart of Christmas is a heart of gold, reaching out a hand to hold, kindest words in each story told. The heart of Christmas is a heart of gold. Heart of Christmas can be ours every day. Heart of Christmas can be our own natural way. All through the year, all through the year, every day of the year, all through our lives, all through our lives, Christmas can always be here. The heart of Christmas is a heart of love, the enduring kind we all dream of, one where we can never get enough. The heart of Christmas is a heart of love. Heart of Christmas can be ours every day. Heart of Christmas can be our own natural way. All through the year, all
everyone, my name is Leticia from Brazil, and what warms my heart the most at Christmas is being with my family, helping people, going to church, and having my aunt's lemon pie.
Hi, my name is Nancy and I live in Dryden, Northwestern Ontario. The most heartwarming part of Christmas for me is having our family with us. Our children no longer live in Dryden, so it's always great when they can make it home for that. In addition, this year, my sister, who has not lived in Dryden for more than 30 years, has recently retired here. So she and her family will be with us as well, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'd like to wish everybody a wonderful Christmas and a safe and happy holiday season.
What warms my heart most at Christmas is the joy of giving, to serve my fellow man and to help those that are in need. And I'd like to do it all year round if I could.
Hi, my name's Linda Watson, and I've been crafting for over 50 years. Hard to believe. I'd like to share with you what warms my heart at Christmas is making homemade gifts and goodies and giving them as gifts or selling them at farmers market or craft sale. We all know homemade is the best. And I know when I receive something homemade or others do, it really warms my heart.